What's up, beautiful people? Today we're going to be checking out another video that I think is going to be interesting or thought-provoking or controversial, depending on how you're going to see it. Previously, we brought one made by a different channel, and it's titled "The Most Racist Countries in the World." That one, a lot of the countries that were mentioned were mostly African countries, and to me it was like the irony. But it was African countries like Morocco, Egypt, mostly the Arab countries in Africa. And the lady explained that these countries are very, should I say, exclusive. So they don't even tolerate blacks in their countries, which I didn't understand because I've never visited those countries. So I decided to check out more because a lot of you requested that I check out a different video. That one in particular, the lady is a propagandist. I think that's what you guys used, or the words you guys used. So I thought to check out another one and bring another video, most racist countries, to the channel. So let's check out this one. Let's see the countries.
Despite how optimistic you may want to be about the subject, in 2023, racism is still unfortunately a prevalent social issue around the world. While efforts have been made to eradicate the issue, and many areas around the world have made progress, this isn't the case everywhere, as there are still certain countries where racism has only gotten worse. This can be attributed to a plethora of factors such as population issues, outdated or extreme religious beliefs, cultural indoctrination, and more. So, today on Across the Globe, we will be taking a deep dive into the most racist countries in the world. Number 7. South Africa. In 2023, World Population Review ranked South
Africa was not in the last one, was it? South Africa? You see, they've gone back to Africa again. You would think the most racist countries have nothing to do with Africa.
South Africa. In 2023, World Population Review ranked South Africa as number 9 on their most racist countries in the world list. World Population Review also noted how 19.6% of South African residents preferred not to live amongst foreign neighbors, and a disturbingly high 61.8% declared that they had witnessed racism. We're sure you're aware that South Africa has a long and painful history with racism. From the apartheid regime that governed the country from 1948 to 1994, to the ongoing racial tensions and inequality that are still present today, South Africa is renowned for being one of the most racist countries in the world. Despite the efforts of anti-apartheid activists like Nelson Mandela and the establishment of a new government in the 1990s, racial divisions and inequality persist, and communities of color continue to face discrimination and violence. This, combined with increasing crime rates and a growing class divide, have contributed to South Africa's reputation as one of the least safe countries in the world. While progress has been made in the fight against racism and inequality, the struggle continues in South Africa. In May 2022, South African President Cyril Ramaphosa released a stern, heartfelt, and poignant message to all South African residents, addressing the black and white divide after a racist incident took place at the University of Stellenbosch. However, the damage that has been done to the country through racism over the years isn't so easy to fix overnight. South Africa has been struggling to build its infrastructure through tourism due to the constant scaremongering that portrays it as a dangerous country to travel to. Despite the fact that South Africa has managed to improve its safety, security, and crime rates over the years, its tourism industry is still affected by the negative perception created by the media. Gov.uk issue travel cautions on their website for anyone thinking of visiting. They list risks.
Nigeria is on all the websites you can think of. Are you going to Nigeria? Terrorism. Don't go. All the websites.
Risks of terrorism, violent crime, kidnappings, vehicle hijacking, fraud, and the high potential to fall victim to a crime at the country's airports. Number 6. Palestine. In 2023, World Population Review ranked Palestine at number 8 on their most racist countries in the world list, with 44% of people saying they would not be okay living next to someone of another race, and 32% having personally experienced discrimination or witnessed it in their country. Palestine is currently grappling with several issues related to racism. The country has been under Israeli occupation for decades, which has resulted in discriminatory practices by the Israeli government against Palestinians. Palestinians face daily harassment.
So the discrimination from Palestine is as a result of Israel? Is that the context the video is trying to provide? Because Palestine, I mean, I don't know Palestine like that, but I'm just surprised, you know?
Discrimination and violence by Israeli settlers who often occupy Palestinian land and homes. Additionally, Palestinians living within Israel also face discrimination in areas of employment, housing, and education. The issues of anti-Black racism in Palestine have also been highlighted, as several Palestinian activists have been accused of perpetuating anti-Black sentiments. The ongoing conflict and political unrest in the region have resulted in many countries issuing travel warnings for their citizens, making Palestine an unpopular travel destination. In fact, a leading travel advisory site scored Palestine a 3 out of 5 for travel warning, advising any travelers to operate with caution when visiting the region. Furthermore, the lack of foreign investment and tourism has put significant pressure on the country's economy, causing further damage to its infrastructure, which has led to an increase in crime rates and a major issue with corruption and bribery. This growing instability has also fueled the growth of extremist views and racist ideologies, as people become more fearful of those who do not share their beliefs. Number 5. The Philippines. From data compiled by World Population Review, it was found that 30.
Honestly, this is a whole new view. Like, these countries were not even in the last one. Like I said in the previous video, there's a difference between racism and bias. You know, there's some implicit biases. Like, if you went to a place and you were not familiar with the location, you wanted to speak to somebody about where you should go, you'd prefer speaking to somebody that has something in common with you. Maybe, like, I'm Black, you might want to speak to a Black person, or you might want to speak to somebody who's wearing a red shirt, same as you. Or, you know, you look for similarities to speak to people, and that is kind of like an implicit bias, not really racism. Hope they're not calling that racism. Like, I don't want the mix, because the last video we didn't see Philippines, and I know Filipinos. I play basketball every day with Filipinos. They're almost like they don't care about, I mean, when I say they don't care about racism. They just do what they do. But to see this in the stats is interesting to me. It's kind of interesting. Let's take it back. I want to hear why the Filipino is on the list, or Philippines is on the list.
The Philippines. From data compiled by World Population Review, it was found that 30.6% of people living in the Philippines preferred to not live amongst foreign neighbors. Additionally, a staggering 49.1% divulged to have witnessed racism. The Philippines is a diverse country with a long history of colonization and migration. Ethnicity and race are intertwined in its social fabric, with the majority of the population being Austronesian descent. However, one of the major issues with racism in the Philippines is colorism, which refers to discrimination based on skin color. Lighter skin is often associated with beauty, intelligence, and wealth, while darker skin is stigmatized and associated with poverty and lower social status. Discrimination against indigenous people and ethnic minorities is also prevalent, with many facing social exclusion and limited access to education and healthcare. Despite efforts to promote diversity and inclusivity, racism remains a pervasive problem in the Philippines. Number 4.
Wow.
Libya.
I would be surprised.
Libya is a country located in North Africa and is home to a diverse population comprised of various ethnic groups. However, racism is a significant issue in Libya.
Yeah, I think Libya was in the list, the previous list. Yeah, Libya was there. It was Libya, Egypt, and Another country, I forgot.
With
Morocco.
discrimination and inequalities prevalent against Black Africans and other minority groups, such as the Amazigh or Berbers. The country has a long history of slave trading, which has had lasting impacts on contemporary attitudes towards Black Africans. There have been reports of violence, torture, and other forms of abuse against migrants and refugees from sub-Saharan Africa, who are often subjected to harsh living conditions and forced labor. Despite the country's efforts, Libya has a weak judicial system which only exacerbates the problem, with perpetrators often going unpunished for their crimes. Racism in Libya poses a significant threat to social cohesion and the country's stability. In 2018, Pew Research Center reported that around 1 million sub-Saharan Africans migrated to Europe to escape racism and unsafe living conditions. Since 2010, this number has continued to grow each year, with many seeking asylum in the U.S. as well, both with and without lawful permanent residence.
Let me explain this. I don't know if you guys have seen the videos of how difficult Francis Ngannou, the popular UFC fighter now boxer, he went through like the transportation system, not really a transportation system, but like the horror of going from Libya to Europe. So imagine somebody escaping Libya to go through that just to get to Europe. It means the condition for them was bad. I've never been to Libya. I haven't spoken to any Libyan. I'm not, here to criticize the country or anything, but I'm just emphasizing the point said on the video that if somebody had to escape Libya to go through that, then the situation for them was bad.
Through compiled surveys, World Population Review listed Libya as the 4th most racist country in the world. The data shows that in Libya, 54% of the population indicated they would not be comfortable living close to individuals of a different race, while 39.7% of the population claimed they have either experienced or witnessed discrimination there. Furthermore, as of 2023, gov.uk advised against all travel to Libya. They attribute much of this warning to cultural and race clashes between groups, stating that fighting between armed groups poses significant risks to air travel to Libya. As a result, this has periodically caused the temporary suspension or closure of airports. Number 3. Egypt.
Egypt was on the list.
Egypt is a country in North Africa that holds a rich history with some of the oldest and grandest historical structures in the world, such as the pyramids, sphinxes, and temples. Unfortunately, the country has been plagued with issues of racism for a long time. Much of the racism is directed toward Black Africans and is rooted...
Why towards Black Africans? What did we do to anybody? Why? Bro, should I go bleach my skin?
in the country's history of slave trading. In April 2023, the Evening Standard reported that 17% of Egyptian nationals said they would not want to live next door to people of a different race. Furthermore, 20% of Egyptian nationals said they would not want to live next door to immigrants or foreign workers. Racism in Egypt is often experienced through discriminatory attitudes and practices, social exclusion, and xenophobic violence. Black individuals are often subject to discrimination in housing, education, and employment. Additionally, there are reports of police brutality against Black Africans and migrants in the country. Despite the government's recent efforts to address racism and discrimination, it remains widespread and deeply ingrained in Egyptian society. Number 2. Lebanon. Lebanon is a country located in the Middle East that has an intricate history and cultural diversity. The country is home to various religious and ethnic groups, including Christians, Muslims, Druze, and Kurds. However, Lebanon has struggled with racism and sectarianism for decades. Discrimination based on religion, ethnicity, and nationality is commonly seen in the country. Some of the most significant issues with racism that Lebanon faces include restrictions on employment, education, and housing for refugees, as well as discrimination against migrant workers. The country's legal system also fails to protect minorities, leaving them exposed to various forms of harassment and violence. The situation is further compounded by political instability, economic hardships, and the ongoing Syrian refugee crisis, which has added to the country's challenges in addressing racism. In 2017, Al Jazeera reported that it has become socially acceptable to be racist in Lebanon as the rapid rise of xenophobia continues.
What? Socially acceptable to be racist in Lebanon? Is this true? If you're in Lebanon, can you confirm this information? Let us know, please. Yeah. This is wild. Like, this is wild. Socially acceptable now. It's not in the constitution, but amongst, let's say I'm living in Lebanon, amongst ourselves, we know that we don't like black people amongst ourselves. That's even worse than making it legal. Because if it's legal, we know it's in the constitution and then people can fight it. But socially, it's going to be very subtle. But then at the back of the people, the mind of the people living there, we know we don't like these people. So that's even worse.
This article was fueled by a tweet from Foreign Minister Gebran Bassil, who wrote, "We are racist in our Lebanese identity." This was in reference to his refusal to naturalize Syrian refugees. Furthermore, according to World Population Review, 36.3% of Lebanon's citizens said they would not be comfortable having neighbors of a different culture, ethnicity, or race, and 64.4% have either been discriminated against or witnessed discrimination unfold in their home country. Al Monitor reported in 2023 that the majority of Syrians in Lebanon live in extreme poverty and are placed into dilapidated camps. Here they face daily discrimination and abuse amid growing anti-Syrian sentiment across the country. Number 1, India.
India is number one.
India is a diverse
India is everywhere. Indians are everywhere. Indians in Nigeria, China, Canada, US. How can India be most racist? Because if India is the most racist country, it's detrimental to them because they are everywhere, which means if people tend to fight back, they'll push them all out. So how can India be the most racist country? This better not be true, Indians. I know a lot of Indians, when I came to Canada, most of my friends and the people around me were Indians. They still are. So they still are around me. That's what I mean. I haven't experienced racism amongst Indians. I don't think so. Yeah, I kind of doubt it a little bit. Maybe it's just the guys I know, but India, racist, number one most racist country in the world. I'll let him go into the video, but let me ponder on this for a bit because it doesn't sit well in my head. The countries I usually expect to be the most racist countries are not here. Somebody told me Japan is very mutually exclusive. They didn't use the word racist, but I would think maybe Japan would be here. But nobody has ever said Japan is racist. Like, nobody has directly said that. I haven't seen that in any video yet. Even the previous one, there was no Japan. The previous one had South Korea, and I personally don't think South Koreans are racist. I don't think so, but the previous video had South Korea. But India is very shocking to me though. Somebody in the comment section or people in the comment section mentioned India actually in the last video. But I kind of I'm like, they're just talking. But this video, they're mentioning India as number one. Not 2, 3, 4 to 10. Number one. Yeah. Now, this is going to be very detrimental to them. If Indians are racist or the most racist country in the world, then it's going to be detrimental to Indians because they are everywhere. It means if people tend to give a payback, they'll send them all back out.
Country known for its cultural...
Let me take it back a little bit.
Growing anti-Syrian sentiment across the country. Number 1, India. India is a diverse country known for its cultural, linguistic, and religious pluralism. However, India has also...
that's one reason why India shouldn't be number one. Because it's very diverse. They have Christians, Hindu. They have every kind of culture, everything. A lot in India. So I wouldn't expect India to be number one. I'm surprised, guys. That's why I keep talking. I'm really surprised.
Number 1, India. India is a diverse country known for its cultural, linguistic, and religious pluralism. However, India has also been grappling with issues of racism and caste-based discrimination. The Indian caste system, a hierarchical social structure based on birth, has been a long-standing issue and a source of discrimination against lower castes. Discrimination based on skin color, known as colorism, is also prevalent, with lighter-skinned individuals often considered more attractive and superior. In recent years, incidents of mob lynching of Muslims and Dalits, who are considered lower caste members based on rumors of cow slaughtering or beef consumption, have also highlighted India's struggle with communal violence and bigotry. While India has made progress in addressing these issues through affirmative action policies and anti-discrimination laws, there is still a long way to go to achieve true equality and eradicate racism in India. World Population Review listed India as the most racist country in the world, according to the surveys published by the website. In the study, over 43.6% of all Indians responded that they would not feel at ease living next to someone from a different race, ethnicity, or culture. Additionally,
I don't think this particular one is true. Maybe I don't know how they did the research, but I doubt it. Because when I was in school back in the day, not back in the day like it's too far, like just 2018 when I was doing my master's, the Indians would come and ask me, do you want to get a house together? Like they would ask because houses were expensive. And they wanted roommates, so like, do you want us to get a house together? Indians would ask. I just thought I should share this because it might be a new perspective for somebody watching the video, but I don't think this is entirely true. And also a reason could be Indians are 1.3 billion people. So if there's racism amongst like, let's say 20%, that's a lot of people, you know, so it's going to feel like it's going to be a lot more exaggerated than a country that has, let's say 100 million people. Because that 100 million people is just like 10% of India, which if India has 20% of people, you know, being racist, that's 200 million people. So it's going to seem inflated, but it's not the general reflection of Indians. Yeah, like this doesn't sit well in my head, honestly. Indians being racist? Nah. Yeah, if anything, I think Indians are racist. No, like people are racist against Indians, if anything. I don't know. Let's just keep going. I'm sorry guys, I didn't have no intention of stopping the video to talk this much, but this one kind of like,
Indians responded that they would not feel at ease living next to someone from a different race, ethnicity, or culture. Additionally, 64.3% of participants from India stated that they had experienced discrimination in their own nation or had seen it occur. Some Indians exhibit a great deal of intolerance for those with darker skin, whether they are native Indians with darker skin or those of foreign heritage, especially African. India has a small foreign resident population and limited immigration. As a result, the majority of its inhabitants are likewise of Indian heritage. This specificity is seen to be a significant cause of racism in India. Makes you wonder if any of these countries are on our list of the fastest dying countries, which you can watch.
Okay, let me know what you think about that list. I'm sorry guys, I know I spoke a lot in that video. I had no intention of speaking that much, but the list was quite shocking to me. Again, a lot of African countries were covered in there. Thank God no Nigeria. I don't particularly, if there was gonna be like a list of all the most racist countries in the world, Nigeria would be the least racist. Because growing up in Nigeria, we used to like, when a foreigner comes, we used to welcome them. It's almost like, we've not seen you before, come eat in my house. Like that's how people treated foreigners. Yeah, we call like white people Oyibo. So it's like, Oyibo is around, come eat in my house. Like people are excited to welcome you. That was back in the day. I don't know if anything has changed since then. But I don't think Nigerians are racist. So that's the bottom line. This list was kind of interesting, you know. It did spark up my I forgot the word. Smash the like button, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace.